Hi everyone, today I have some tips on traveling with your houseplants. So we're taking a road trip. It's going to take us 2 to 3 days. We're traveling from Connecticut to Florida. So it's the middle of winter. We're going from a cold climate to a warm climate. And I want to take my houseplants with me. So today I have some tips on preparing them for their travel, how to pack them up, and then the actual car ride part, there's some tricks there. And then of course, when we get to our destination, I also have some tips for you when we arrive where we're going. So you also may be traveling, you may be taking a trip, a road trip, and you'll be gone an extended period of time and you just want to enjoy your houseplants, you can't bear to leave them. Or maybe you don't have someone to watch your houseplants for you. So I'm taking mine with me because I purely want to enjoy them while we're gone. My daughter Hannah, which you've met in some other videos, she has kindly taken some of my orchids, and I'm going to leave a few here and she's going to check on the house while we're gone. But there's some good tips today on how to travel with them. So first of all, you want to start the process about 2 to 3 days prior to your road trip. And that's because you want to give them a really good drink. So I've done this 2 to 3 days ago, and then you want to put your watering can away. So no more watering until hopefully we get where we're going. So that's very important here. You don't want to be traveling with wet, soggy houseplants. And next, you want to, after you water them 2 to 3 days ahead, you want to give them a good look over and make sure you're not going to be traveling with any pests or problems. So you want to check the houseplants over, and then you also want to check the soil in your pots. And then you want to give them a little pruning. So I've cleaned up my little rabbit's foot fern here. I don't want to take anything unnecessary on my road trip, and I want them to be in the best condition possible. And then last but not least, this is optional. You can repot them into some plastic containers. This one here is already in a plastic container, so I'm really happy about how easy this one's going to travel. But my others here are in some clay containers, some clay pots. And so there's going to be a little extra work, but I would rather keep them in their pots just because I feel like the less trauma before they're going on this road trip, the better. Okay, so that's prepping them. Next, how to pack them up. So I have some really sturdy boxes here, and that's pretty important. You could also use some plastic bins if you have those kicking around. I like to pick a size that's going to fit in our back seat or on the floor behind the passenger seat pretty easily. So these are perfect, sturdy little small boxes. And then you want to line them with some plastic just because you want to prevent if there's any water still in there that's draining out or any soil that's spilling. So it just kind of contains the mess. So I've just used some regular old trash bags here. I've cut down one side so that they're hanging over the box. So when I'm bringing them outside, I can just flip the plastic over a little bit to give them a little protection when I'm bringing them to and from the car. Or you could just throw an extra trash bag in there. So another option is you can also put a little piece of tape over the drainage holes on the bottom. So if you're really worried about any spillage or anything. Okay, so next, it's after the holidays, so you may have some tissue paper around, you may have some newspapers. I'm just using what I have on hand, so paper bag, magazine. I even have a plate here and some cardboard. So I'm going to try to place some of this in between the clay pots just so they don't crack on the road here. So I'm just going to do this quick here. And here. Okay. And I also really don't want them wiggling around, so I'm really trying to stabilize them in here. Okay, so that's it. They're ready. Use what you have here. Just make sure they're stable in their boxes, and the paper and cardboard also give them a little bit of extra protection because remember, we're going out into the cold right now. All right, so we're going to pack them up. We're going to be putting them in our truck in the back seat, and that is another tip for you. So if you have a little SUV, you have a nice back seat, you can put them even on the floor. Buckle them in if you can. You just do not want them in any open air spaces, so like the bed of a truck or whatnot. So I have done this before and it was very successful. I swear people think I'm crazy, but I am not gonna leave some of my plants behind. I want to get the most of them. So call me crazy, but I love my houseplants. So that's it. I'm going to show you how we're going to pack them up, and then I'm even going to show you how we bring them into the hotel with us on our overnight stays. And yes, I do that because again, it's cold. So until we get down to the southern states when the temps warm up, I'm going to bring them in and out of the hotels with me. They're staying with me. And my tip there when you see me do that is you want to do that as quick as you can. So if you can cover them a little bit, and again, you can just kind of drape your plastic over them, park close to the door, run them in, run them out, and they should be fine. So join us on our travels, and then again, I'm going to show you when we get there how I care for them when we get to our destination. Okay, so we're packing up, and I want to give my plants a prime location in the truck. So we have this nice big back seat, and I'm putting them in the center, and that way they are away from the windows, which the sunlight from the windows can scorch the leaves, so you have to be careful there. But I also want them away from the doors and drafts as we get in and out on our stops along the way. Here we are at our first stop in Pennsylvania, and boy is it cold. Do not leave your plants in the car. You don't want to expose them to the elements, whether that's cold, heat, whatnot. Bring them into the hotel or wherever you're staying with you. So when it's cold like this, I like to pull right up to the door as close as I can get them and bring them in as quick as I can. And here we all are at our second stop, which is in North Carolina. So it's getting a little warmer, but again, you still do not want to leave your plants in the car. Everyone's come inside the hotel with me, and I put them in a nice little cozy spot. This is our final stop. It is on Amelia Island, so we're visiting family for a couple of days. So we brought the plants in and put them in a nice window here. Here we are, we made it. So we're so excited to be here, and the plants are looking pretty good. So you do want to bring them in right away, but it's late. We arrived late. We're tired. We're hungry. So they are going to stay here in the entryway. It's nice and warm in this location, and they'll get a little bit of sunlight here. And then tomorrow I'm going to put them in their spot, and I do have some final tips for you, some do's and don'ts. Okay, so we reached our final destination, and I have a few do's and don'ts once you get to where you're going. So we're finally in Florida. We did our road trip. It took about 5 days of driving down here. So 3 stops, and we got caught in some snow. So it was 1 night longer than what we had hoped for. And then we got here, and of course, it's been about 10 days. I wanted to bring you this video sooner, but of course I got sick. So I wanted to let you know what I did as soon as I got here. And I also want to say that it has been 10 days, and you can see how well everything has done on the road trip and how well it's adjusted. So, do's. So number 1 is when you get to your destination, you want to immediately bring your houseplants inside, and you want to put them in place. So indirect sunlight, all of mine have similar needs here. So that is a do. So don't leave them in the car or hanging around for too long. You want to unpack them and you want to get them in place. So the next do is give them a drink. So they went a few days without any water. It's much easier to transport them that way. So as soon as you get them in place, you want to give them a nice drink. And then a don't is, if you'll remember, I have this little rabbit foot fern here that did so well in this nice little plastic pot, which traveled very well. And my don't is, you don't want to give any of these plants new pots right away. So although it's in a plastic pot and I'm really excited to upgrade this pot because this little fern is doing so well, I'm gonna hold off because you don't want to give it too many shocks all at once. You really just want to let your houseplants get settled. So I wanted to show you how well everything is doing. And in fact, a couple of the amaryllis have started sprouting some leaves. So this one up here as well. And then the others have put on quite a bit of growth. You can see I have a nice bud coming here. We have some nice healthy leaves. We've got some little pups, some side shoots here. And this here is the other one that was already sprouting. So all in all, everybody did really well, even though it was a very long road trip. So I'm happy to be here, and I hope I've given you some good tips on traveling with your houseplants. So thank you again for joining me, and please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel for some future gardening fun.